Hi, my name's Lynn. Welcome to your practice. This is going to be a 30-minute yoga conditioning class designed to move your body in all of the beautiful ways it's designed to move. So we'll be moving forward and backward in a sagittal plane. We'll be moving sideways or laterally in a frontal plane, but we'll also be rotating quite a bit today. So you'll want to make sure that you have some space on the sides of your mat. I'd also like you to have a block or a water bottle that you can use as kind of a target later on, and that will make more sense later. But let's get started on our backs. And as you arrive on your back, just do whatever feels good to begin with. Whether it's the end of the day or the beginning, sometimes it's just nice to lay down and stretch out. So whatever you need there, just to kind of check in and notice what you're bringing to your mat today or tonight. And let's ultimately set up in kind of this reverse tabletop position with the knees stacked over the hips and your shins parallel to the ceiling. As you do that, intentionally press your low back into the floor just gently. It doesn't have to be a death grip there. But what I'm going to have you do is try to keep that position of your low back contacting the floor. So that's challenge one, and if you're already challenged there, stay there. Great, your work is done. Option two is we're going to extend one leg and we'll alternate. We'll do 5 reps per side. So you're going to start with your right leg. Exhale, bringing the knee right back over the hip, and then left leg. Now if that's too easy for you, that's when you're going to extend that leg as you reach it out. Okay, and trying to stay relaxed through shoulders and neck. Keeping that just gentle pressure of low back into the mat. Breathing as you go. We got 2 more per side. Maybe you're moving a little faster than I am or slower than I am. It's all good. Just doing your best to stay chill through the shoulders, your jaw. Let's do 1 more on each side. Just a nice little warm up there, kind of feeling that cinching in effect around the waist. And when you're done with your 5 on that second side, let's make our way to a tabletop pose. We'll come up to hands and knees. We're not going to be here very long, so probably don't need to worry about patting knees there, but you're welcome to. We'll set up with wrists just slightly forward to the shoulders, cat-cow. So inhaling into that gentle sway back. Tail lifts, gaze may come slightly forward, and then exhaling into that rounded back as you kind of tuck your chin and draw your tailbone under. And then just let your breath guide you here. It doesn't have to be quick or slow, but kind of sinking there, the movement to the breath. Letting the breath guide you as you go. And then ultimately make your way back to a neutral spine, kind of somewhere between the cat and the cow. And so we're going to do some scapular push-ups here. You might be familiar with these. What I'm going to have you do is draw your shoulder blades toward each other into protraction, and then push the floor away into retraction. So again, it's going to kind of look like I'm doing a push-up, but my elbows aren't moving. It's my shoulder blades moving closer together and further apart. This can be tricky if you've never done it before. So imagine that I had my finger between your shoulder blades right on your spine, and you wanted to pinch it with your shoulder blades and then push it away. And so at some point, if not yet, you might be feeling a little bit of heat there in the muscles between the shoulders and in the rotator cuff there, the group of muscles that help keep the upper arm bone and the shoulder socket. Good, so then let's use this kind of new awareness that we have coming into a forearm plank, and you're welcome to bring forearms to the floor and stay on your knees or work your knees back a little bit. Otherwise, let's tuck the toes and lift the knees. Good, so feeling that equal pressure from the elbows to the hands, forearms pushing, shoulder blades retracting, so they're moving away from each other. Option 1 is stay here, great place to stay. Option 2, you're going to find dolphin pose, walking feet closer toward the elbows. Bend the knees as much as you need to facilitate a nice long spine. Relax your head, and again, feel that equal pressure, forearms into the mat. And just kind of let your head relax and hang there. Again, you might be finding that your knees are a little bit more bent, and that's cool. And then there's this gentle press of chest toward legs. See if you can take 2 more deep breaths here. When you're ready to come out and we'll be heading back into that forearm plank. And then after that second breath, we'll just walk the feet back. Send the shoulders right back over the elbows. Take breaks when you need to. Otherwise, for about 20 seconds, you're just going to take a shift forward, bringing your chin over your hands And then shift back so that your eyes or your forehead are over your hands. So we're kind of doing this seesaw thing to challenge the musculature of the shoulders and the core and the legs and the feet. Take breaks when you need to. We'll be heading into Sphinx next. If you can, do 2 more reps with me. Keep drawing that belly button in toward the spine. And then Sphinx pose, knees down, thighs down. Relax the shoulders. If this doesn't feel good in your body, you're welcome to lay flat on your chest, on your belly and your chest. All right, and then when you're ready, we're headed back to downward facing dog. So you can slide your hands back, lift your hips, curl your toes under, press down through the hands, and then send those hips up and back. Take your time moving, exploring, feeling, not worrying about perfecting or refining. Get 2 more breaths. And then take your time, bend your knees generously. We'll walk feet forward to hands and take a forward fold there. And your forward fold might be elbows on thighs. It might be hands on shins. Maybe you have a couple of blocks or a couple of water bottles that you can use here. And if stillness sounds good, be still. With a little bit of movement and swaying sounds nice. Enjoy it. Even though this practice today is about moving our body, honing our attention through the challenges, taking these moments to just check in and breathe as well. All right, as you're ready, go ahead and come all the way up to stand, activating the muscles on the back side of your body. So a little squeeze of hamstrings, glutes. You can take a big reach up overhead. Let's go right back into our next forward fold, bending the knees as much as you need to. Again, take that half lift, so shoulders coming up maybe a little bit higher than the hips. You're welcome to use your hands there. And then stepping back to plank, not to down dog, but to plank. Yeah, we've been here before. Push the floor away. Take another deep breath in, out breath takes you to down dog. Good. Keeping the hips square, right leg's gonna float up behind you. Take a moment there, push the floor down and away through your hands. Moving to high lunge, right foot's gonna step toward your right thumb. Before you come up, take a moment, plant that foot, and then imagine you're pushing the floor away as you rise into your high lunge. Establish a nice solid foundation because we're going to challenge that here. This is where we'd be starting to add a little rotation. So feel nice and stable and grounded through your low body, buoyant and relaxed through your upper body. We're going to reach high to the right and then swing low to the left. Again, high to the right, we've got 5 repetitions, and low to the left. If you want to make this a little bit more dynamic and fiery, you can. If you want to keep it kind of chill and fluid, you're welcome to do that too. Either way, creating and controlling the movement from your midsection, from this rotation. Last one. You can reach the hands up high, breath in. Stepping it back to plank on the breath out. Remember, that could be from toes or from knees. This time we're going to lower down. You might lower to the knees on this first one, lengthening, and then feeling the shoulder blades moving flat on the back. Let's set up for a baby cobra pose. Active legs, tailbone presses, rising up again, that sense of broadening across the collarbones. You can exhale, send the hips back, downward facing dog through plank or table. Check in. Hands strong. Upper arm bones rotating away from the ears. Left leg will float up. Again, we've got the hips square for now. Step that left foot through into a high lunge. And again, take a moment to set it so that you feel really strong. You just push down to rise up. Float. All right. So again, 5 rotations. We're going from left high to low on the right. Left high, low right. Have some fun with it. Why not? If it's a new and novel movement, maybe you have to really kind of just work to establish your balance. With your 5th one, I think this is it. Take a nice deep reach. Connect to your breath, stepping it back to plank. Left foot steps back. Breath in. Downward facing dog. Breath out. Nice. Let's go ahead and step or hop the feet forward. And we're going to set up for a chair pose. So, find your chair width. Some of us like the feet hips distance. Some of us like the feet a little closer together. I prefer about hips distance apart. Good. You can also choose your challenge in terms of maybe up a little higher, maybe down a little lower. It's not the last chair pose we're going to do today, though. All right, take a nice deep breath in with your exhale. We're going right into a forward fold. Come into that half lift again, making an active back side. So squeezing glutes, hamstrings, feel those muscles that line the spine working to lift you. Step it back, plank pose. Breath in. Now listen carefully, walking the hands back to the feet and then into chair pose. Good. It's okay if the knees come slightly forward. You don't have to really worry about keeping the knees stacked over the heels unless that hurts. Take a breath in. Going right back to plank on the breath out, so you can keep your knees bent as much as you need to. You're kind of seeing the path here, the pattern here. Plank. And then take a lot of little steps kind of through this bear crawly thing to find your next chair pose. All right, adding on to that, so you got the pattern here beginning. Maybe you need a moment to catch your breath. When you're ready. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Come into that half lift, strong back. Step it back to plank. Walk the hands back to the feet. Find your chair. We won't be here very long, so make it a good one. Maybe up a little higher. We're coming up to stand this time, so with your next in-breath, we'll come up to stand. We're going to do 5 alternating lunges. So we did this high lunge earlier. You're going to step the right foot forward from here. Good. Find a depth that's appropriate for you, keeping the feet hips distance apart. Strong push off that leg to step back to your mountain pose. Switch sides. And back. You can make this quicker or slower, deeper or more shallow. Anything that feels coordinated with the arms. We got one more, I think. After that 5th one on your left side, come on back. Set your feet for chair. Find your chair pose. Forward fold. Exhale. Inhale, half lift. Feel free to bend the knees as much as you need to. Walk your hands back toward your plank pose. If your wrists are starting to bother you, lower your forearms. We've got 5 hip rotations, so as if you're moving into a side plank with your low body, but shoulders stay square. Bring it on back to center, and then a little to the left. Woo, baby. Again, you're welcome to take breaks when you need to, but I think you got this now. Just a couple more. You could be doing this from your knees as well. Okay, and then on that 5th one to the left side, come on back to plank. Walk your feet forward to your hands. When chair pose becomes a relief, right? Inhale, come up to stand. Let's finish that up. So come on back to your chair pose. I'm going to have you shift your weight into your right leg. As you stand, bring your left knee with you. So pushing into your right foot, left knee will lift. And then re-squat to your chair. Shift your weight into your left leg. As you stand, the right leg comes with you. 5 per side. Maybe you do fewer, maybe you do more. It's all good. We'll be adding on to this in a little bit. So mindfully keeping your balance and keeping the hips from rotating a lot side to side here. So working those hip stabilizers, those lateral hip stabilizers. All right, chair pose. Inhale, come up. This is where you're going to need your water bottle or your block, and we're just going to place it in front of us about 3 feet, maybe 2 feet. From there, so we just kind of worked on this. Now drop into your chair. I know, chair pose again. Shift into your right leg, and now can you tap your prop, your water bottle or your block, and then come up to stand and stay standing on that right leg. So it's kind of a single leg squat if you want to find a wall or a chair to help you balance, and then come up. So 5 taps. If you need to reestablish your balance between taps, that's cool. Trying to get that right knee just tracking forward as you find a little squat here. I'm gonna do 1 more. And then warrior 3. Now can you send that left leg back as you start to hinge forward, leveling out your pelvis. Take a couple of breaths. Option 1, stay here. Option 2, 5 times. Left toes to right heel. Left toes, tap right heel. Making the movement happen from your left hip and keeping your low belly to support you there. So there's not a lot of extraneous movement in your low back. Of course, the right side working as well. After your 5th one, so let's do 1 more. High lunge, left foot will step back. Deep breath in, plank pose, breath out, right foot steps back. You see where we're headed, but before we head there, let's do some shoulder taps. Remember, you can do these from your knees, push the floor away. You're gonna shift slightly to the left, right hand taps left shoulder, and then replace it, left hand taps right shoulder. I think it's helpful to take the feet a little wider on the mat if you're having a hard time balancing there. And again, you can pick your speed. I like to move a little bit more slowly and more kind of intentionally. And then after your 5th one on that left side, we'll walk the hands back to chair pose. So hands going back to the feet, find your Utkatasana, your chair. Maybe starting to feel the chair pose a little bit now. All right, so from here, just like we were doing, we were shifting weight in the feet. You want to shift your weight into your left foot, tap your right foot out to the side, come back through chair, shift into your right foot, tap your left foot out to the side. So one leg is kind of always in chair pose as the other leg is tapping out to the side. So we started to challenge the lateral stabilizers for the pelvis, and so continuing to work that way. And again, you can just your pace here, your speed. And I have no idea what number I'm on, so hopefully you're counting. I'm going to call this 5 to the left. I'm going to come back to chair, equal out the weight in the feet, find your forward fold, walk your hands forward to the front edge of the mat. We're almost done with all this plank work, but first, finding that side step again in plank. So right foot's going to step off the mat to the right, left foot off to the left, right foot in. Left foot in, lead left, left foot out to the left, right foot out to the right, bring it back in. Doesn't really matter if you successfully alternate, just keep stepping, Left side, and then left in, and then right side leads, and then right in, just keep moving. I'm certainly not successfully alternating. All right, from there, you can step or hop your feet forward, chair pose. All right, this time you're gonna be leaning, we've got one more side to do, right? So this time you're gonna be leaning into your left leg and bring your right leg forward to try to tap your prop, and then you can come up, right? So we got 5 taps of your prop forward, kind of this single leg squat type thing. And you might be re-tapping your foot each time, or you might be able to keep your balance the whole time. Right, from there, warrior 3, you're gonna send that right leg back, left leg is standing. Level out the pelvis as best as you can. Option to tap right toes to left heel for 5. And doing your best to make the action occur from your right butt cheek, glute max. Right, and we'll be stepping into high lunge from here. So right foot's gonna find the back edge of the mat. Take a deep breath in. These little hidden gems of relaxation and pause between the work. Plank pose, left foot steps back. All right, we got 5 shoulder taps. Remember, you can lower your knees to the mat. Left hand taps right shoulder, right hand taps left shoulder. 5 total each side. your 5th one. And walk your hands back to your feet. Find your chair. Establish your balance. You're going to shift weight into the right leg and tap left sideways. Bring it back in. Shift your weight into your left leg and tap right. Trying to keep a pretty low squat the whole time if you can. It's appropriate for where you are in your life today, depending on what you did yesterday, what you've got planned for later. Breathe. All right. We're headed back to our plank and finish up that last tap sideways. Equal out the weight. Send the hands forward. And then we're going to do this side step. Maybe alternating and maybe not. You're still doing the work either way. But firm press of the hands, feel the inner edges of the hands as well as the outer edges of the hands. We've done quite a lot on that today already. And we'll get off the hands momentarily here. All right, when you're done, let's get off our hands. You can step the feet forward. Last little bit of chair pose. Nice job. And then go ahead and come all the way up to stand. You can give the hands a shake. From here, mountain pose, connecting to your breath, feeling the movement of your heart rate, feeling the breath as a bridge between body and mind. The focus of attention caused by some of the kind of just novel movements, somewhat new movement perhaps. With your next in-breath, let's reach the hands high. With your out-breath, we'll come into a forward fold. You can inhale, crown from floor of pelvis. And then step it on back, and let's just go right to hands and knees and into, let's take a Sukhasana here. So we'll come into our seated shape, bringing the shins somewhat parallel to the front edge of your mat. All right, and then right elbow underneath your left elbow for eagle arms. And if that doesn't work for your shoulders or your chest, you're welcome to give yourself a hug instead. So option one is just to find this nice release between the shoulder blades. You might even enjoy kind of tucking the chin there gently. And then if it would feel good to you, go ahead and start to add a forward fold here. So tilting the hips forward, and then maybe grabbing your props somewhat so that you can find some support there for your upper body. Maybe you have a bolster or a couch cushion that you can use. Just a nice opportunity to slow and to deepen the breath. To relax the muscles that we just worked. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And sending the breath low into the belly, feeling that gentle expansiveness, widening of the ribs. And then if you're in eagle arms, we're going to just kind of uncross the arms and you can use them to press yourself upright. We'll switch the cross of the legs, so we're getting into the hips as well as into the shoulder structure. And then this time it's going to be your left elbow either in a hug or an eagle, bringing the backs of the forearms to touch. And take a nice deep breath in, feeling a little lift of the spine. And then option is to stay here, especially if you're already feeling some sensation in the hips, or you're welcome to come forward. Noticing the way the breath influences the shape, in particular the space between the shoulder blades. And also the way the shape influences the breath. We'll be here just another breath or 2. And then go ahead and come on up. All right, from here, please make your way to your back. And we won't be up again until after Shavasana, so if you have a blanket that you want to bring with you, you can make your way on back. And again, as you lay back, just kind of getting reacquainted with the floor. And then bring your feet to the mat, knees bent. Let your shoulders relax. We're going to take your right heel behind your your right foot behind your left heel. I don't know if you can see that super well. Right foot's going to go behind the left heel, and then you're going to allow the outside of your right thigh to release to the mat, so that thigh is externally rotating. If it's hovering in space uncomfortably, just kind of slide a block under there to support it. Okay, so the target tissue is somewhere in front of the right thigh, the top of the right thigh, or maybe the front of the hip there. If you're not feeling much sensation, and it doesn't have to be this huge, obvious sensation, but if you're just not feeling much, you can use your left hand to grab a hold of your right foot. You're just going to angle your knee further away from your head. You could also bring your left knee into your chest and just kind of hold on to it with your right hand. Okay, so that tilting of the pelvis helping to accentuate the tuck across the front of the hip. This position, really kind of letting gravity provide some feedback for the breath. Okay, we've got that lift of the belly as you breathe in, and the kind of descent of the belly as you breathe out. Starting to notice the influence now that the breath has on the bigger picture for you. And notice how the breath affected what you felt in your body. How does it affect other kind of aspects of yourself? All right, so let's go ahead and switch sides. You're going to bring your left foot back to the mat. Bring your right foot beside it. Might take a moment just to notice. And then your left foot's going to sneak behind your right heel. Outside the left thigh is moving toward the mat. It might not get there. And then decide if you need more or less. Okay, so you have those options. A lot of different stopping points along the way. Again, to come out, please bring your right foot back to the mat, followed by your left. And you're welcome to work the feet to the edges of the mat, maybe a little bit further from the hips. Arms by your sides for just some loose windshield wipers. Yeah, you choose the cadence. Maybe you want to move a little bit more quickly. Maybe you want to move a bit slower. Now let's finish with a spinal twist. So you're coming back through center, drawing knees into your chest. You can take your arms out to the sides like a T, and then we'll just let the knees drift slowly to the right side. And if the floor feels a little too far away, you're welcome to slide, of course, a prop under your knees or between your knees. I like to use my right hand to support the top knee, in this case, the left side. Just kind of feeling like you're just melting into the shape. And often, at least for me, there's kind of some hidden tension that I always have to look for. In this shape, it's usually like my right hip, my right thigh. For you, it might be left shoulder, chest, jaw, or face. And another deep breath into your belly space. Then you remove your prop, use your exhalation to come back to center. You can take your prop with you to the other side if you have it there. And then we'll let the knees drift to the left. And so as knees kind of moving to the left, we've got the upper chest. I think the thoracic spine, the part of the spine where the ribs are attached, kind of rotating up toward the ceiling. And again, this sense of just kind of melting into this space. Use an exhale to support. Return to center. From here, you might take knees into chest. You might enjoy a happy baby. And then we'll transition into Shavasana. So feel free to bundle up. Maybe slide something underneath the knees there. And then we'll let the arms extend by the sides. Just take your time. Maybe enjoying this contrast between the movement and activity and heat, and now enjoying the stillness. Perhaps feeling the residue of the movement within you, the movement of the energy of your breath. And then ultimately, let your head be heavy. Relax through the fronts of the shoulders and into the lengths of your arms. And feel the weight and ease of the muscles of your hips, pelvis, and down into your legs. If you're looking for any places where there might be some residual kind of work or tension from the practice or from your day, and seeing if you can use the breath to just release that a little bit more.